I'm Cesare Varallo. I'm a food lawyer based in Italy. So I have a very particular practice because we mainly do consultancy for food business. We deal with food labeling stuff, food composition issues, crisis management for food recalls or crisis situation like we are having today with the outbreak of the coronavirus, and food fraud prevention. So sometimes we are involved also in investigation related to food authenticity. So let's say that we move at the intersection between science and law. I have people in-house that are not lawyers, are food technologists or scientists. So we have this mixed approach to the consultancy, to the business. So.
Incredible. And I don't think I've ever spoke to someone in law that specializes in food. So I'm honored to be talking to you today. So that's interesting. But of course, such an important industry for so many countries around Europe critically need experts in law. And I'm going to definitely ask you a few questions about the fraud and how you look after the legal side of food. So we're definitely going to come to that. So your day-to-day job then, is it looking after trademarks and brands? Is that what the day-to-day job would be?
Well, not just brands. They might be part of our evaluation when we look at the label, but it's most related to the mandatory information that you have to give to the consumers, also the voluntary information like marketing claims, and everything that might be misleading, including brands. But we are not, let's say, patent attorneys, so we don't register brands. Okay, we just manage the layout of the label. So our day-to-day job it's more like making sure that everything you communicate is compliant with the law, online, on the label, on the advertising, on TV, and so on. So that's the main part of our business. To be
incredible and so important, because if you get that wrong, it will stop a product going into any of the countries, I guess, in Europe. And then you have to consider other markets such as America and Asia, different regulations again.
Of course, the regulations are absolutely different. So you have, to be honest, if you go to US, you have to do a dedicated label. It's very hard to put together two different systems like US and EU on the same pack and meet all the requirements. Asia, of course, it's different. And imagine that also allergens lists are not the same. Maybe you as a consumer don't think about that, but we have 14 allergens regulated in Europe, 8 in US, and many other different in Japan or other Asian countries. So if you miss an allergen, you get a food recall, you get a danger for the public health. So it might be a huge damage for your company, for your brand. Yeah.
Incredible. And did you find that the European Union and all the laws throughout the common countries, they're making things easier for products to be exported around Europe?
Oh, well, not exactly, I would say, because we have a common market in Europe, but it's not exactly working smoothly all the time. So still we have, certain countries that are putting in place, let me say, protectionist policies from time to time, like country of origin labeling that are not exactly in line with European rules. And like in Italy, of course, but also France or other countries have issues like that. So, no, it makes my life much more easy than do 27 different labels, of course, but not necessarily. On export, we are fine because EU has a strong reputation in food and food safety. And then, of course, each country has its own specificity. So consumers in Asia are looking for French wine or Italian cheese or those kind of delicacies. So we have a huge competitive advantage in terms of quality and also trust and safety of our foods.
Yes, no, incredible. As you say, every country has when you think of the image of the country, you're thinking of the couple of dishes that are, just associated with it. What would be the core, products that Italy would be famous for then in your eyes?
For my areas,
yeah.
For my area, the most famous products. Oh well, in my city we do a lot of wine. Wine is in Piedmont. I'm based in Torino. I didn't mention that. Based in Torino, so near Langhe, in the north of Italy, we do amazing wine. Good cheese, good meat in our area. Let's say we're not vegan, not exactly vegan as a production area. But yes, that's, I would say, the main
Wow.
kind of production. Also sweets, chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah, 50 kilometers from here, we have Ferrero, so Nutella and
Oh
everything.
my word. I would be destroyed. I hope they don't.
Also, maybe that's advertising. You have to cut it.
So I hope they don't do factory tours, because I would be in trouble if they did.
No, no, absolutely. Not now, not now because of the outbreak, but
Yeah.
our economy is strongly based on foreign tourists that are coming here to drink wine and, and eat amazing food and, stay for the weekend in those farms, or let's say small, yeah.
Interesting. And do you see a crossover then between food and tourism? Is that a big part of the economy then? Do you see?
Yeah, it is, and it might be even more important in the future. Of course, now the outbreak, the coronavirus is changing everything in terms of traveling, tourism. The effects will last probably for years, and we don't know exactly uh, which kind of effects this will have on tourism. But um, regions like Piemonte or Toscana had a strong business built on that, because they realize that if an American tourist is coming to Italy and he gets hooked by the food or the wine, he will be back in 1 year or 2 years after. He will be open maybe to do a video course from US, where you teach him how to cook the amazing stuff that he tastes in Florence or in Venice or in Torino, during the summer. So yes, there was a huge business for that. Also, cooking schools, cooking course for private or for professionals. Yeah.
Incredible. No, it's incredible. And you mentioned when in your introduction about food frauds and
Yeah.
how you've been involved in some of this in the past. And I guess to get to really good quality and maintain it, people are people. We actually need to watch out still and have rules where we protect the industry. So you've had some experience of that in the past.
Yeah, I had some, especially from 2013, where we had the Horsemeat scandal. The bar has been raised. The attention is higher, not just from the consumer side, but also from the industry side, from the authorities. So, of course, a lot has been done, but it's a very complex issue, because food is an experiential product. So people that go to the supermarket think that they know something about the safety or the quality of or the origin of the food, but the reality is they do not know anything and they cannot know. So they trust the brands more than the labels, because on the label you can place whatever you like. Okay. Um, and the industry lost a lot of trust in the last years because of those scandals that emerged here and there. So now they're trying to restore this trust, and that's the difficult part. Because when you have very complex supply chains and you have to deal with frauds, it's not enough to say, okay, from tomorrow I'll put in place a vulnerability assessment of my supply chain, of my facility, check what might be wrong, and I fix it. It's not like that, because on the other side, you have cheaters, you might have even criminals, true criminals. So you have the human factor, and you have to take control of many things if you want to reduce your risk of fraud. Like the first one, of course, is the supply chain in terms of transaction, where the food is coming from, the price the price that has been paid. It's fair, it's not fair, it's unrealistically cheap. That might be the first indicator of food fraud. But you have to keep control also of the product. What's inside your product? Who might tamper the product along the way? And the human factor, the third main factor. So the people that are working in your supply chain, in your facility, because it's very easy to tamper something. If you are an insider, you know how to do it and what is checked, what is not. So it's not easy as usually it's pictured by the media. Okay, we won't solve anything with a country of origin labeling, with a blockchain, with any single, uh, piece of or any single measure alone. Yeah.
Incredible. That's, as you say, where there's people, there'll always be people trying to bend the rules, as opposed to follow them. But again, I'm just thinking, you know, the food industry today compared to where it was 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 15 years ago, for sure it's in a different place. But it sounds like there's still definitely opportunities then to keep improving, and we need to maintain it.
Yeah, of course, there's always a space to improve. But yes, if you think about 10 years ago, an initiative like the one put in place in UK, the FIN, which is basically a network put in place by food business to exchange information and data, real analytical data about their product and the emerging risk, it was something absolutely unbelievable. Because also if you anonymize data, it's still data sharing. So very sensitive information are now put in common to do data analysis and to try to anticipate the issue. So there are a lot of initiatives like that. You know, there is a lot of work going on supply chain management. Blockchain is an IT tool. Maybe it's not the only answer, but of course, it's interesting to follow all these different areas of developments and research. Also, private certification standards, regulations are moving on and establishing something in terms of minimum requirements to prevent those economically adulterations. And of course, the major companies are doing something inside, are putting in place procedures and systems to prevent this kind of events.
No, incredible. And do you think actually companies, I'm thinking of new start companies and small companies in the food sector, understand the importance of making sure that their labels are correct and everything is legally followed? Because, you know, for an outsider, we have I'm, you know, shocked at how much detail there is around.
Yeah, risk perception is very different according to the size and of the food business operator and its place on the market. Let's say it's very different from a company that is has their stocks, at risk if a crisis happens. So you are at the New York Stock Exchange. You know, if something goes on the press about a potential fraud, even a potential fraud, not a real one, you lose billions in minutes. So your risk is totally different from the one of the small farm that is just selling, you know, some fresh meat or fresh vegetables to the tourists. I would say that not necessarily the big companies are the main cheaters. Of course, if something wrong happen on a big scale, the economic gain is huge. But if we look probably at the local markets, at the farmer markets, yeah, you might find a lot of, let's say, not necessarily fraud, but mislabeling, because, you know, you try to push a bit your product. And it's much less risky if you are in that position, of course. So you have different levels of fraud in different at different levels in the supply chain, and of course you have to decide what you need to prosecute as a regulator and what works to be prosecuted and what is less, you know, less important.
Incredible. And do you think the industry's changed then a lot since the likes of the horse meat scandal, which definitely rocked the food industry across Europe?
Yeah, they move forward a lot, and especially they realize how big this risk is for them as a system, not just as a single company. And I noticed working with Europe, but also with US, like also there are very huge cultural differences. In my experience, let's say the US environment is much more wary of those kind of risks. It's much more worried about those kind of risks. They have a high perception of the risk. It might depend, I don't know, maybe from, 11 September 2001, we don't know. But they perceive those risks about tampering and fraud in a much more serious way. Maybe because the companies are bigger, so they have more at stake. Yeah, clearly for a small company, as mentioned, it's different, but a lot has been done and a lot is moving on. Okay, I've been involved in many investigations along the years and it's something totally new. We don't even know sometimes how to do things. In most cases, you use all the school investigative techniques, like you try to put some markers on the food to track it along the supply chain, understand where the food is authentic, where it has been mixed with something that is tampered. It's not just about, testing. Testing is just a part of the methods that you have to search for a fraud. Then most of the frauds are discovered with a notice coming from insiders of the business or tracking the money. So it's something that is not just food law related. It's much more big, the picture.
Yeah. Incredible. No, it's so interesting. And again, as you say, it's so important that this has actually been managed and chased through the supply chain, and any offenders are at risk of being caught. So do you think, obviously we mentioned COVID-19, so do you think the pandemic is going to affect the food industry going forward in the next couple of years?
It could be. It is a strange position, the food industry, because now in the short term, in the first month, they had potentially even a benefit from the outbreak because the sales spikes up. Yeah, really. I read some reports about plus 20% compared to last year for most of the food sold retail in Italy. Maybe not all the fresh food because it's exposed, so the consumer is not trusting the fresh food anymore because they fear that someone might sneeze or cough on it or something like that. Absolutely understandable. But for the rest, they are spiking with sales. But now in the medium long term, we might have issues because the supply chain might be fragmented by political events. So certain countries are starting to put in place protectionist policies because they fear that they will not have enough food to feed the population, of course, or simply because it might be their own interest to stockpile certain commodities and then sell them at a higher price in future. I'm not here to judge, the policies of the countries, but I might understand that a country like China or India, where, a large part of the population is still starving, might need to stockpile certain commodities because they are 1.5 billion. I have no idea how many they are. And so you need possibly rice or flour or those kind of foods. But yeah, my clients are reporting already some small disruptions in the supply chain. So not for all the food business will be easy in future. But if you look at retailers, also retailers are benefiting in a short term of those kind of situation. But on the other side, all the retailers now in Italy are so much under pressure that they cannot deliver anymore the grocery at home like they were doing, or you have to book 3 days in advance, your grocery to go to the store and just pick up the bags, or otherwise you have to stay 2 hours outside in a queue. And on the other hand, I'm sure that on a long term, the habit to buy online, also food, that is not so common in countries very traditional when it comes to food like Italy, but also I would say Ireland or France, probably very, very linked, to agriculture, to the land, will change. So they will have to face even more, I think, the competition of online sellers, online retailers. So it might cause some changes in the business.
Incredible. And we are finding that food retail is up 20% here as well last month. So very similar.
Yeah, I can imagine, And I don't know toilet paper, but in certain countries it's crazy. You cannot find toilet paper anymore.
Yeah, we went through a phase. I don't know. I think someone started buying it, and then everyone else is buying it. I better buy it. There's something here. It's the funniest thing. It is. It's incredible. So it doesn't matter about food. Get toilet paper, and then once you get the toilet paper, get the food. I don't know.
Yesterday a friend sent me, a meme on WhatsApp. I'm receiving a lot about the outbreak because we are all here close at home. So you have just, to send jokes to friends. Yeah. It was from an archaeological perspective of the situation. There was a dead body, buried in the ground, and said, for 100 years from now, and the skeleton of this man had toilet paper in one hand and a pack of pasta in one. So I figure out that people now, stockpiling this kind of Saturday, I was going to have a pizza here at the restaurant because they are not open in Italy, but they can still deliver, and it's just near my home. So I was out with my dog and I said, well, can you send me up, a pizza in like 20 minutes, 30 minutes? There was a lady asking to buy 25 kilos of flour, the big bag. And the pizza man said, well, lady, I won't sell you that because it will be wasted, Keep calm, please. Yeah.
Crazy.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot of
It's
history
hard
now
to,
around food. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's hard to understand, but and it's going to be interesting. You're right, how things develop over the next couple of months, but hopefully we'll be back to normal soon, and maybe everyone will all enjoy actually going out to the restaurants and cherish those moments so much more, because I think around the world people are hungry to get out to experience that again. It's just going to be incredible when everything passes, but what to do. And you think the crisis and crises like this make it easier for food frauds and fraud opportunities to be created?
Well, it could be. It could be because where there is scarcity, there is opportunity for fraudsters, or where there are very high prices, there is an opportunity. The incentives are higher for fraudsters, so they might jump in. If there is scarcity, also, let's say, black market might be, pushed, pumped. So yes, definitely, I think there might be a risk, because it's very easy to think to dilute something, or adulterate something with a lesser ingredient or lesser raw material when there is scarcity, because you can get a huge price and a huge reward if you look from the fraudster perspective. So it's possible. It's possible. Companies are really under pressures in terms of production, because they have to produce a lot. They have no raw materials. They have to retrieve raw materials on the market. So maybe they will change their suppliers. They have no time to qualify their suppliers. Yeah, definitely, it's a situation where we might have risks. Yeah.
A few more problems. Interesting. And for your clients that you're working with at the moment, are you giving them any advice to help them strengthen their business and make potential improvements for when this maybe all eases off?
Well, we are looking into that with many clients. Also, if really, to be honest, now it's more a crisis management situation. It's more, we are in a crisis management mode, because we have those small disruptions in the supply chain. We have to guarantee business continuity. So they are very focused about how to, of course, supply safe food, so avoid any kind of contamination. Also, it has been said by all the scientific bodies that the risk of infection through food is very, very low. Food is not a good surface for the virus to stay on. It depends, of course, from the foods. You would need a study for each different food. It's not the same if it's bread or vegetables or fish, of course, but let's say that the risk is very low. So they are very focused on business continuity. So how to organize the work internally in shifts, in groups, to avoid that if some employee is ill or is infected but asymptomatic, contaminate the whole the whole production workforce, and you are forced to stop the activity. Restaurants are trying to survive, and they have to manage the same situation in small kitchens, so they need to guarantee the 1 meter, 2 meter distance, all the masks and the gloves and whatever. Delivery has different problems as well, and also related to workers, because those poor guys that are bicycling all day to get our foods needs to be protected. So each kind of business have a different type of need. But of course, in future, things will change, as mentioned. So for sure, e-commerce will be boosted. So it's obvious that if it's convenient, you are moving now in that direction. But I think that the biggest impact that we will see will be on how we work, because a smart working, for me, it's normal. I travel like 200 days per year between Asia, US, Europe. So I'm never home. I'm never office. Now it's a bit different. Yeah. So for us as a consulting business, it's normal. But for most of the companies, especially in Italy, it's not. So I think that there will be a big change in how, of course, not the production, but all the activities managed by the offices will be structured in future, because for certain aspects it is amazing how smart working might be efficient and might also be better for your quality of life as an employee. It depends.
Yeah.
Not with too many kids at our home, but yeah, I'm experiencing some serious stress. But this will be, of course, an impact that we will see. It's incredible how universities or even the schools of my kids organize in 1 week what they can't organize in 20 years. They switch to a fully online mode in 1 week, while for all the Italian university was something impossible to do.
It's incredible. Yeah. This is it. When you're faced with the cliff edge, you find a way to do it and you get it done. So no,
Exactly.
it is very interesting how it can switch. So no, incredible. So wow, really interesting what's happening, and as you mentioned, what's going to happen in the future. And there's a lot of change and disruption in the industry. I was going to ask. So anyone watching this, any food business who is interested in the legal side of things and exporting the products around Europe, your areas of expertise, and if anyone wanted to reach out to you and have a chat, where can you help companies, and what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Oh, yes, yes, we can help, because we are not just working in Italy. We have a huge network of consultants, lawyers with our approach. So we cover at the moment like 70 countries. And that's huge, because and it's incredible because you see the problems from any angle. You have products exported to Asia. Now I'm trying to do a label for a pet food coming from Taiwan to Europe. Honestly, it's a bit hard, because it's a product formulated for a different country with different ingredients, names, and whatever. So we have to switch and it to our rules and make it compliant. So yes, we have this kind of expertise. Of course, it's not all on me. I just speak a bit of English, as you notice, I'm Italian. I can't manage your Taiwanese label, but we have this kind of connection. So if you have global problems, also in terms of recalls or mixed scientific and legal, we have experts in any field, from traceability to allergens or testing that might help. I'm very visible on social media. As you know, I have a blog named foodlawlatest.com, and there is a channel on each social media like LinkedIn, YouTube, with the same name. So you can reach out or you can just, Google for my name, and through LinkedIn and social, you find everything. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, no escape. For sure, for no escape on the internet. And what we'll do, we'll make sure underneath this video, there's links to all of those social networks, so people can reach out to you.
I'll send to you.
Okay. So a final question for me. Again, we see a lot of food, as you mentioned there. E-commerce and Amazon now is like a monster here, and they don't deliver fresh across the country yet, but we're seeing online and e-retail. Do you think that's going to be a big market area for food moving forward?
Yeah, I think so. Amazon is moving big in Europe now. I think that the UK was the first country where they deliver food, and even fresh, I think, in UK.
Maybe in the cities. I guess you're totally right, yeah.
Exactly. But now they're expanding their business in other countries like Italy, Netherlands. They are creating their own branded products. The business is changing. We will have many kind of new retailers jumping in, new business model, I think, in future. Think also about other non-specifically food business like IKEA. Did you ever notice how big is in food IKEA? If you go there, you have the shop, you have the restaurant. They are present, I think, I don't know in how many countries, everywhere in the world. At the end of the day, they are a retailer, because they have their own Swedish products, local products. So the market will change. The traditional business model of of retail is changing, and this outbreak will have an impact. Will have an impact on how the consumers will purchase food, how they experience food. I think not so much in terms of what they are eating. They will keep eating pasta or bread or whatever. It's how they will get the food.
Yes, very interesting. Yeah, how it will be purchased.
Work on the
Amazing.
experience, of course, not just on the quality of your food or the label. Yeah.
Incredible. No, very, very interesting. So we're all waiting to see what happens now over the next couple of months and years. But I think you're right. This is a major change, change for everyone. And companies need to be ready for that. So let us see. So again, though, thank you very much for your time today. Really appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you online.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It was a pleasure, really. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. And thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did and found it useful, why not share it on social media? And of course, reach out, connect and click through the links below this video and do say hello. And for sure, we'll see you in the next video. Thank you again.